All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start sculpting the face. We're going to do a full face. I know we just practiced on how to do the eyes. We just finished working on the nose. We've done mouths before and things like that. So now we're up to the part where we're going to do the full face. To get started, we're not actually going to do any clay work today. We are going to recycle the pieces that we used before, so we're going to smush them up and use that clay too. We're going to need plenty of clay to do this. But we're not going to make one solid mask over here. We want to make it hollow for a lot of reasons. We don't want to work too thick. We also don't want to waste a ton of clay. So you might have noticed in the packet of supplies, I did give you a lot of tinfoil. I hope that you didn't use that all up or wreck it or throw it away. If you did, I think tinfoil might be something you have at your house, so it's not the end of the world, or it's hopefully something you can get your hands on. So I know I've given you 7 to maybe 10 sheets of tinfoil, and what we're going to do today is we're going to make a base to actually build the clay model on. That way it's hollow, it's light. If it's too thick, it doesn't crack if we bake it, and it doesn't waste a ton of clay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull just a regular single sheet out from my the pile that I gave you. Again, I should have given you about 7 to 10 sheets. And all we got to do right now is we're going to crumple it up. I don't want to crumple this up into a tiny, tiny, tight ball. I just want to crumple it to where it's sort of rigid and it's holding its form. Don't try to make this as small as possible. All right, so just basically squeezing my hand, and you can see what I've done with one of them. All right, and we're just going to repeat. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to crumple it up. Again, not too tiny. I mean, don't make it like as small as you possibly can make it. It shouldn't feel solid. It should kind of hold its form. We got 2. All right. 3 sheets. 4 sheets. All right. Crumpled up 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to kind of try to just mush them a little bit together. Okay? They're not going to stay together. So I'm going to take my 6th sheet. I'm going to wrap them up. And I'll just wrap them in tinfoil so all those 5 little fist-size balls that I made are all together, and they're all holding together at one. And then what I want to do is I kind of want to make this egg-shaped, all right? I want to kind of press it together a little bit. It does not have to be perfect, but what I want is I want to create basically like an oval start. This is going to be like a base that we're going to build off of. So what I'll do is I want to keep one side flat, just like we did when we sculpted with our eyes and everything else like that, or when we made those base pieces. This will sit on the table so you can work, and this sort of top of the hamburger bun shape is going to be the basis that we'll build off of for the face. So I'm going to mush all those things together. I used about 6 pieces of foil. There was 5 balls of foil, and then I kind of wrapped everything with one singular one. I'll kind of mush them just a little bit together to kind of get rid of any unsightly bumps, all right, and try to kind of keep this thing pretty round looking. You know, again, it's going to be more like an egg shape than it is going to be like a perfect circle. And if you use the same amount of foil that I use, you should get a very similar sized thing. Don't use less foil. If you really wanted to, you could conceivably use more foil if you have it, if you want to work a little bit bigger, but I wouldn't make it much bigger than mine. How big should it be? Well, if I make a fist over here, you can see it's kind of like the size of my fist, sort of. Your hands are probably just a little bit smaller. So, you know, the size of your hand, if you are smaller or petite, you know, it could be a little bit bigger than your fist. If you got sort of chubby hands like I do, it could be slightly smaller than your fist. But the most important part is that it's a roundish, ovalish shape, sort of thinner this way longer that way. This is the chin and forehead. This is like where the ears are going to be. And what we want to do is make sure it's relatively even and equal. We don't want it to be like lopsided or anything else like that. It's just going to make the whole sculpture easier to make. You can see the one side is sort of flat down to the table that I've been working on. And I've sort of made my oval shape. If I look at it from the bottom, you can see it's sort of rounded across the top. This is not like a hockey puck or a box. If you look at it this way, it's sort of rounded on the edges over here. And we're going to do just one more thing to it. We're going to press in sort of like orbital bones where the eyes are going to be, kind of. All right, it's just a basic thing. We're not going to do them up here. We're not going to do them down here. We want to kind of do that in the middle of my little oval shape. So what I want to do is I'm going to kind of just take my thumbs a little bit, and in the middle of this thing, I kind of want to make an indent. Now I want to make it so it's going to be space for the eyes, and even if I mush in this middle part that's going to be the nose, really not that big a deal. I just want a little bit of an indent so that when we sink in our eyes, they're not like on top of the face and we have a little bit more material above it to sort of make the forehead and the eyebrows. So that should be happening in the middle over here. So after I made that sort of bun-shaped kind of thing, you can see I've made like an indentation in the middle. This is what it looks like from the side. Okay, so this side's still sort of rounded, back side's flat. This is the kind of shape we're looking for. It should be similar in size to like your fist, all right? At least the size of your fist, and if you are smaller than me, which a lot of you will be, you should make it a little bit bigger than your fist. But 5 pieces of crumpled up foil, a 6th piece to sort of, you know what, cover it all together. If you have extra foil, and I gave you extra foil, you can just wrap it again if you want. Give yourself a nice smooth surface. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to use all the foil I gave you. And if for whatever reason you don't have enough foil, then either look in your kitchen cupboard, go to Chipotle and buy a burrito, or I don't know, Stop and shop and get yourself a little bit more. But what we want basically this ovalish sort of round bump out. We want indentations in the center here, which will be areas that we sink the eyes into. And this is going to just exist inside of the sculpture. We're going to build our clay sculpture on top of this, all right? And I am going to go through step by step by step how to do that. So I don't want any of you to feel like you got to start working right away. I will do that. I will record those videos. I'll be posting and I'll start doing that on Monday. But what we want is, again, the start to that sculpture, just like you see mine right over here. Flat, round, bumped in. And the biggest thing is just whatever you're doing, try to make it the same on both sides. So if you see one side is bulging out a lot more than another side, or something looks a little lopsided, even if it doesn't look right, make sure it looks the same on both sides. So like if I've got a little bit of bump over here, I'm going to kind of push it in to kind of match the other side. And that's it. We are making just the start of the base of our head, and in all honesty, all of this is going to get covered in clay. It's going to be almost like a mask when we're done with it. So it's not so important how it looks at this juncture. From here, what I would do is what we always do, is I would take a couple photographs of this piece. And most importantly for me, I just need to see it from a couple different angles. So again, I would take my telephone and I would get it from straight on. I would get it from the side so I can see like the profile of it. I would get it from the top. And with that, that should be more than enough. I'm going to upload those pictures that I just took of this thing. I'm going to upload them to our actual team so you guys can look at that and have that. So that's it. That's it for today's demo. It took me about 10 minutes talking. It's going to take you about 5 minutes to do this. And then, like I said, submit this. I'm going to give you 10 points for this, and then we'll start working on the actual face on Monday. All right?